crochet this border, you will require the blanket that you're going to add your border to, the yarn that you're going to use for your border, an appropriately sized crochet hook, a pair of scissors, a tapestry needle to weave in your ends, and a stitch marker, which is optional. Let's get started. Start by creating a slip knot. Insert your hook and pull tight, and attach the yarn to one of the corner stitches from your blanket. You're then going to chain one and place a single crochet into that very same stitch. I recommend marking this stitch with a stitch marker so that it is easy to find again later. You're then going to place a single crochet all the way around your blanket. So along this top edge, it's nice and easy. It's just the top of each stitch from the last row that I crocheted. When working along the side of your stitches, depending on which type of stitch you have used, you might want to place 1, 2 or 3 single crochets in the side of each stitch. Whatever you decide to do, you need to make sure that your row of single crochets stays nice and flat. I shall continue working along this top edge and meet you when we get to the corner. As you can see, I have now reached that very last stitch. Therefore, instead of just placing a single crochet into it, I am going to place 3 single crochets and mark the second single crochet. This will become the new corner stitch. I will then go back to working single crochets along the next edge. Repeat the 3 single crochets every time you get to a corner, and I will show you what to do when you get back to the start of round 1. As you can see, we are now to the end of round 1. So I've been working my single crochets up this edge. This is the single crochet that started the round. As we need 3 in every corner, I'm going to place 2 further single crochets into this very corner stitch. Mark the second one with a stitch marker, and then remove this stitch marker and slip stitch into the single crochet that started the round to end it. We can now move on to round 2. So to start round 2, I'm going to turn my work and slip stitch back into that very corner stitch, because that is where I would like to start my round. I'm then going to turn back to the right side. I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to place 9 double crochets into that very corner stitch. I suggest marking the top of that first double crochet so that you know exactly where to find it later. And there is your very first corner shell. In order to continue along the next edge, you are going to skip 2 stitches and place a single crochet. You're then going to skip 2 stitches and do a regular shell. A regular shell, unlike the corner shell, which is 9 double crochets, consists of only 7. You are then going to skip 2 stitches and single crochet into the next stitch. We're now going to repeat this 7 double crochet shell all the way along the edge. So skip 2 and do 7 double crochets, skip 2, do a single crochet. Keep doing that until you get to the next corner. I shall meet you there. As you come towards the corner of your blanket, I recommend doing a little bit of calculating. Now, as you can see with these other stitch markers, I have marked where each single crochet remaining will fall. As you can see, I've got a slight problem. If we want this corner to look like the corner at the start of the blanket, then this will be the shell. We'd skip 2 and we'd want a single crochet to land here. As you can see, we are currently 2 stitches away. So you have lots of different ways how you can handle this, but what I tend to do is just shift a few of these around. So instead of skipping 2 stitches, for a few of the shells I will skip 3 stitches. Equally, if required, you could skip just 1 stitch. What I will do is I will do these last few shells, make sure I am happy with their appearance, and then work my corner shell. I suggest you do the same. So as you can see, I have now worked those last few shells, and I don't think it's very noticeable at all that for these 2 shells on the second part I skipped 3 stitches instead of 2. Now to work the corner. So as you can see, our single crochet is now in the correct place, 2 stitches away from the marked corner stitch. We're then going to remove that stitch marker and we're going to do 9 double crochets into that very corner stitch. Then just as before, we're going to skip 2 and place a single crochet. Once you have done this, you can go back to working along the edge doing your regular shells with only 7 double crochets. I shall meet you at the end of this round. As you can see, I have now worked the final single crochet from my last shell. So I'm going to chain 1 and cut my yarn, leaving a reasonable length tail. Now I need to go back and weave in this end here from the start, but then I'm going to use this tail here to pin down this side of the shell so that it sits where it should. And voila, there you have it, a finished shell stitch border for your blanket.